Welcome, everybody, to D3 Semifinals. We have Marshall versus Arizona State University, and I'm Blaze McBain, your Desk One Chair One. And with me today, I got Supersonic Blur. Blur, how you doing, man?
What's up? I'm good as I can be. The horrors persist, but so do I. So hopefully things are looking too good. I got asked, I think it was at 1 in the morning this morning by Margin, hey, are you around at like 6? And I was like, yeah. He's like, sweet, do you want to cast some games? I'm like, sure, I'll do that. So now I find myself here in the whole scene of the Albion Giants. Been around it before, but like you said, some big teams coming in. I know nothing about them, but talking to you back on this thing, it's Division 3, which not much of that has been seen either. So we're both going into this somewhat blind here to the actual teams.
I believe Marshall, D3 defending champs. They are number 2 seed here, going against number 3 seed ASU. So it should be a nice tight matchup here. These 2, 3 seeds and 3 seeds always make for a good time. And I'm excited. You know, I'm always excited to cast some Smite. I found out I was casting tonight when Majin pinged us.
We're having a good time here then.
No, it's funny. I told him the other day, I was like, hey, if there's some games on Monday you need me to cast, you know, just shoot me a message. And I saw a ping this morning. I was like, looks like I'm casting tonight. That sounds really awesome. It's always a good time. And we actually had some good semifinals the other night between our D1 teams moving through to the finals. So we'll see some finals matchups this week. Hopefully we'll see all D1, D2, D3 finals this week. That's what I'm hoping. Not promising anything, but we are trying to get them casted here on the AGL channel, and I'm really looking forward to that. But we're going to have some, hopefully, spicy picks and bans is what I'm hoping for. I've been enjoying watching some of these collegiate games, and sometimes, it's like we were talking before the cast, it seems like you just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And that makes me excited for game number ones, because sometimes that's what you get off the rails.
And the thing is quite right now and things where we're coming up to Worlds, we've got, placement rounds coming up, I think this week. I should really know because I'm on those. But the sort of meta and things right now, a lot of balance changes and things. They're very small, little adjustments, tiny little things, not really too much. So where the sort of the meta, if you think of it like a pool of water and things, where it's kind of settled now, you can really start diving deeper down. You can start seeing in there. You can start going, well, here's what's good. Here's what counters what's good. Here's how you counter what counters what's good. So all that kind of thing. So yeah, while it can be sometimes throw it out there, see what sticks, you've also got a lot more depth. And hopefully in the picks and ban side of things, we'll be able to see some of that. Already down through 3. Some fairly solid ones so far. I mean, the Ares is still going to be a fantastic play setter. The Ratatoskr and the Ravan here, these ones for me, I look at both of these and I think these are solo lane picks, but that's just my solo lane brain going into that. Whereas on the other side of things, the Horus taking away the Arpwash and the Thanatos, these are some very strong gods. Thanatos, admittedly, I am coming from like a ranked brain. I played a fair bit of rank today to try and remember how to play Smite, so I was ready for this. Thanatos can do so much early setup, and it's really, really strong. The Arpwash solo as well. It's just so difficult to deal with some of these major solos, even after a lot of the nerfs that we saw, like to the Vampiric Shroud, to the Breastplate of Determination, to a lot of their lifesteal items. They are still just so solid coming into this meta.
Yeah, I mean, I see Alpwash, and he just takes up so much area with his ultimate. I mean, it's not only a problem in lane if you're not playing somebody with range, but it's a problem when you head into team fights, because now you're having to deal with the Crypts getting unleashed, and you're like, oh crap, what do we do? But I agree with the Thanatos ban as well. Feast or Famine gods can go kind of crazy, and we see this right off the bat. Me and you were talking about Poseidon before this game, and Poseidon seems really strong right now. Not really any changes to his kit, but just feels good to play. But on the other side, we see Mammon and Athena here, and I didn't expect to see Mammon let through in any semifinal or final matchups going forward.
Not at all. Mammon is still such a very strong god. The newest god usually has that sort of air of they're really OP. And whilst Mammon has seen some adjustments to some of her kit, Party Trick no longer being knock-up immune, the amount of burst damage this god does is absolutely insane. I equate it to kind of like a more ranged version of Ao Kuang, a little bit of more aggressive plays and can come online a little bit earlier. Those soul spikes do so much damage as you just start building up more and more damage. She's kind of got like everything. When I think soul spikes, where it's like you keep hitting someone, they keep taking more damage, you do more damage, I'm thinking, oh, that's like Arachne, so she's got really good early game. Then I think that you've got an instant 1.2 second stun. I'm thinking, oh my god, that's like Kali late game. This god just does absolutely everything. You've paired it now with an Athena as well, so there is so much beads burner potential, safety, extra dive going forward with this. It's an absolutely incredible top two. And you look at Marshall, I'm like, you could pick anything for the rest of this. We mentioned that Poseidon has got a really good track record recently and a lot of flex potential, a lot of solo being seen and some towards the mid lane. But either way, like, Maman just kind of will sit on him as long as he hasn't got the cripple up. So it's going to be so difficult to peel this Brigitte away. Hopefully this Ganesh is going to be able to do some of that with that silence, though.
Yeah, I think Ganesh is gonna have to put in some work here. I mean, you're gonna need that silence because it's not just Mammon you have to worry about. You have Athena for dive, and Izanami kind of likes to do that too, likes to follow up with that damage, and it could really set up a lot between them. But now we're seeing Kali banned away. They're like, hey, we don't want to deal with that hyper aggressiveness that Mammon brings on the other side here. They ban that away. They ban Pele away. On the opposite side, we see the Cuckoo and the Tiamat taken away. And I will have to say, I think Tiamat has kind of risen the ranks as of late. And I don't know if I'm happy or sad about that, to be completely honest with you.
I kind of am in the same boat as you. Tiamat was a god that kind of had a very big showing across like sort of season 7, season 8, where you had this very dive-centric kind of a comp. I'm okay with her not being there, but that is also a bias against Tiamat like you. The Kukulkan as well is a very solid takeaway on the side of ASU. Marshall just needs something big that can follow up with Athena's taunt. So taking away two really strong gods that either dive or delete members seems pretty good. On the other side of it, rounding out the draft, the Susanna off for the jungle, and more than likely Thoth mid does mean that Cupside here picked up that Poseidon for the solo lane as they first pick. It's a very, very strong god. But now the range that ASU have got, if they can play around this Thoth, if Marshall's job is to dive, Thoth needs to be invisible on the map. Like, they need to make sure that everywhere they step has been warded. They need a safe path everywhere. And if they can do that, Marshall is going to have to expend so much trying to dive in towards it. And the Thoth can just outrange you the entire time. This Hera last pick, though, should be mentioned for Marshall here. They've kind of gone in with this all-in mid-game, or like middle of a team fight thing. Everyone is in the middle of the fight, and that's where they want it to happen. They don't want super long range. They don't want to be diving into the backline super far. And if they are, that's where the fight's going to happen at all times. It's all on the Athena and the Mammon for diving, but Hera's in the middle of a team fight. Izanami's in the middle of a team fight, and Morgan Le Fay is in the middle of the team fight here for Marshall.
I'm just looking at Marshall, and I see 4 magicals. And if I'm on the side of ASU, I'm like, okay, we definitely are building some magical prots here. We need to figure out how to deal with this Izanami. It's honestly a good strat, because they're not going to build a lot of physical prots, and Izanami's probably going to want to build crit to shred people down. Maybe you decide to go that power pin route, but I'm really curious to see where Wolf goes with this. On the other side, though, I like the combination. I like what we're seeing. Poseidon solo, I think, is fairly strong. Ganesha has good area control along with that Poseidon. You have Thoth, who does great single target damage. I think there's a lot of good setup on the side of ASU, but they're going to have to weather the storm, even though they're the ones with the Sasano.
I mean, looking at this comp, I am looking down and I'm going, yeah, they got full magical. How is that going to work out? Because part of the whole thing recently is the reason we're seeing these mage solos is Breastplate of Determination gave 111 physical protections and magical protections. It was broken. Now, it did get nerfed subsequently because of that. It went from, I believe, 7 protections per stack to 4. So it lost a good chunk of protections on it, but it's still a very, very solid item. If that is like the one physical defense item that the Ganesh and Poseidon have to build, and then they can worry about Oni Hunters, Garbs, Talismans of Energies, Heart Wards for the entire team, I am really concerned for Marshall having these 3 magical comp. Yes, 2 of them are actually there to do damage, but Athena still needs to have some kind of threat. Morgan Le Fay, if she's not doing damage, I'm not really sure what she's supposed to be here to do. Because it doesn't feel like Morgan Le Fay does a whole lot outside of, at that point, the whole protections and getting healing back from her ult. At that point, she's just there to be like a wall or a cow, depending on how well that effectively that goes, to quote some older analysis from frontlining and stuff. But yeah, on the other side, ASU, I really enjoy this comp. It feels very much in flavor with this current meta. Chonabog has been a pick that kind of has been quite a common one ever since Vicious Barrage has like a 3-second downtime on it. Everyone's had in the back of their mind, is Chernobog good here? Is Chernobog good here? And I guess we're going to find that out in this first game.
I think Chernobog's interesting because he does what Athena does, right? He can go anywhere he wants on the map. But he's a hunter. He's relatively squishy. You might not want to go into some of those fights. We'll have to see how Tiger decides to play those out here and what the plan is. But as we head into game number 1 here, is there one of these sides, picks, and bans you like more than the other?
Oh, you had to do it to me. I hate you for that. But it's rough. Everyone wants to look at the Maman Brigitte and be like, haha, it's the new god. Please don't win with it. But at the same time, everyone's like, ha, see? I told you it was OP. There's no way you can't win on it. So whatever I say is going to end up feeling bad for it. But I'm just happy to hopefully see a fairly long game because both of these teams kind of do want to get more towards the later game with it. Izanami is very good early for clear, but doesn't really come online until she really starts getting deep into some of those items, and she can start getting that Sickle Storm upgraded because she just does so much late game damage. On the same side of things, Chernobog as well is going to need a couple of items to come online. Can rotate around sooner, but outside of like maybe some kind of a team fight that's set up for them, I don't see the need for the ASU to really try and rotate. They're happy for this one to go late as well.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to how do they control the Maman? I mean, and it's like you said, we don't really want to put it all on that with it being the newer god, but I do think that comes into question here is this pick under control or not early in the game? Because I've played against plenty of Mamans, and if they get going early, it's kind of a Thanatos situation where they just start going crazy, and you can't stop them. But the good news is she's no longer, knock up immune into her stun, so that's a plus. But taunts missed here by Free Bowling, and ASU are having to back up a little against Marshall. Marshall just getting kind of a dominant lane going early on, and it seems that way across the board here as we see them pushed up in every single lane, and that's a scary, scary time to start off this game. But Free Bowling, not afraid to walk into a silence and just wait it out, and there's a taunt, hoping it for a root, doesn't get it, but with the Ganesha, you can stand back for a little bit and, you can play at the tower. You don't have to be up in the middle of the lane right now.
You don't, and against what Marshall's duo lane has, you really don't want to be up anywhere near that either. Wolves gets AoE wave clear throughout the entire time, so this lane is going to be a little bit more passive as they start trying to wrestle it in. They didn't hit level 2 at the same time. They got there slightly later, so it explains why they've done this. As we can see, Maman has made the way over. Dark Exodus going for that buff. Deny whether or not they want to go for the gang. Instead, like I said, they're more than happy to just try and farm this out right now. Not too concerned with potentially going for some early game pressure. The presence in lane of them getting there already was pressure enough. Like you said, Marshall have had good presence in all 3 of these lanes. You don't want to overcommit to one of these because then you give ASU a way back in. Now you've got to start thinking, how does that affect the rest of the game plan? Does Maman come over? There's no reason to necessarily do that. So I'm not expecting too much until at least like first items are finished. Maybe level 7, level 8. Really depends how frisky the teams want to get with it.
Yeah, and I think this Maman really has to decide who's the target going to be early on. Who do you want to go on? And I really think it comes down to looking at, well, Poseidon doesn't have a dash. I mean, he has some movement speed. That part's nice, but he can't dash away if the cripple's down. And here it is. Dark Exodus comes over, gets the damage, doesn't get the stun. Ooh. And J-Rod will just splish splash away there, right under the tower, which is a feels-good moment. I do want to highlight, one of my favorite support items has been built. And also, shout-outs to everybody cooking. Warflag. I always love seeing Warflag. It's I always thought it's a for fun item. And then until it did get buffs, a few patches back, kind of helped it out, and I get to see it a little bit more often. And as a carry player, this feels good. But I also just like, when I play support, I love building that item. I think it's just a fun item to play around.
It's a very aggressive look, and given the fact that Marshall do have the better clear, this kind of emphasizes how aggressive they can be early. And it's done a good look for them here. And like you mentioned as well, we did see Dark Exodus come over to this side of the map. Didn't get a kill, got the beads, and more importantly is, remind that, over in the duo lane, Free Bowling picks up first blood. I believe that was over and around the gold buff, the solo side, but coming back on that point, the fact that even though they didn't get the kill, they pressure out Junior to the point where he can't stick around, and then they go for the buff afterwards. It was well timed because either they get the kill and they get the buff, or they get him out of there and they still get the buff. Either way, the buff was sort of a icing on the cake situation. But first blood for Marshall. I mean, Free Bowling doesn't necessarily mind it. I think Whoops would have preferred it, but hey, first blood in the duo lane is a very good look, and didn't even burn the girdle there for Frenzy. Did not use that at all. Makes me wonder just what ended up happening here for Rex to pull so easily.
Look, here's the thing. And this is going to sound crazy. Support's getting first blood is kind of sick because they finish their item early and they get to stacking earlier, and that benefits everybody, especially when Stygiant Beacon gets up, okay? So I'm gonna take one for support players here. I'm gonna take the brunt of this hit because people are not gonna agree with me. But first blood on the support kind of feels good.
It does. Like I said, I never said that it was a bad thing.
Oh no, I know you did.
See, Athena has got the ult channeled. Where are they going? They're gonna be going over to Dark Exodus. No fight really follows. Dark ult comes on through with the Nightmare. That's left Wolves alone.
And Wolves could be in a little bit of trouble here. Dark Pillars are used, trying to slow it down. And really, it slows down the aggression by Marshall here, as it kind of just kept, Maman able to come in and do anything in that fight. Really interesting use for Tiger there. I thought maybe heading over to help out Cup side, but that isn't the case here. But now back over to Duo. It's 3v2, and Free Bowling's looking for a taunt. Not sure you're going to get it, but now the Ganesha gets to walk away as well. Nice pressure here by Marshall, getting both those beacons down, getting that extra gold going, along with that first blood. I mean, I think you get your item, buy some wards, and it's time to get moving, maybe over to the mid lane and put some pressure over there if you're Free Bowling.
It could be. I mean, we've seen a lot of this in sort of the SCC level where supports have been sitting around the duo lane for like 7 or 8 minutes just because the fact that the gold buff is extra farm for them, junglers can rotate in like we've seen here. It offers them a little bit of more stable lane farm for some of the earlier sides of things. Both of these hunters, though, like was mentioned, do kind of want to get some farm up, so we may see that they get left to try and solo farm things up. Whether or not that ends up happening here. 6 minutes in, outside of the first blood, we haven't seen anything else come through as items start to get finished off. It is going to be stacking items on both supports with their Gauntlet of Food. And now as well with both mid laners going for this Book of Thoth. I really think that this mid lane is where a lot of the action is going to be diverted away from. With neither team wants fights in this mid lane right now. They want both of these mid laners to just farm.
Yeah, it's take your time, get the levels up, don't do anything crazy, survive. I mean, that's where you're at. If you're in mid lane, you don't want to give anything up. But in duo, Marshall's been fairly aggressive there. Dark Exodus has been making some rotations in, and there is a slight gold lead beyond that first blood, and it just comes down for them being able to take some of those camps away, more specifically those side camps with the gold and shield buff. I think that goes a long way. But I'm curious to see if we kind of get the slow roll in here and see not too many team fights until maybe 12 minutes. I think maybe that's where we'll start seeing stuff as the beacon spawns, where it forces people to rotate in.
Yeah, beacon's usually a good call to force someone to show up at some point. I would like to see Cupside, now that they have got that party punch, now that they do have the Jotun's Wrath online, I do want to see them start making some plays. You've got to start trying to burn some beads, burn some ultimates, get something off of this. Because you look at what Dark Exodus has done. I thought they were going for the Chronos pendants, but no, they're going full-on damage out with the first item, Rod of Tahuti. So they are looking to say, when I show up, someone is dying. Cupside needs to be, I can show up more often than you can. Because right now, they've not shown up at all.
Rod of Tahuti. Oh, we get a fight early now. And now it's channeling. Can he get it off? the question. Dark Pillars are there. The shots are thrown, but Nova gets the kill. Coming in. Dark X's turns it around. Oh my goodness, a 2-for-1 cup side. I'm fitting to take a fall, but Nova takes a spill as well. The calamity of all the alts compiled on there in the mid lane. Holy smokes. So meanwhile, over in duo, you have Poseidon and Tiger deciding that, hey, maybe we could do something. But there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Hydra's not going to step up.
I think Tiger wanted to ult to mid, but in the process of spam clicking the ult, they just whooshed past the screen, and now they're going to make up for it. Finally,
I caster cursed him.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
It was.
I'm sorry, you took me out of it.
No, you're good. It definitely. Look, did you misclick? 100%. But you tell your team in that moment, I meant to do it because we got to kill in solo. I've been there. You know what the worst is when you click and it takes you to Fountain. And you're like, oh sweet God, and then you're just dead. Or it takes you to like Phoenix when they're like walking up and you thought you clicked on somebody else in mid. Oh my God, dude, it's awful.
Yeah.
But no, you plan that out. You take that dub, okay? You got a kill there. You lost your tower. But as I tell all ADC players, and look, losing your tower pre-12 minutes is fine. It actually allows you to still farm as long as you don't push up the wave too crazy. And you get some wards up, you become a little bit harder to gank, and it's not terrible, especially on this Chernobog where you can get up and move around. I think it's okay.
I think that's the big one there. As long as Tiger clicks the right person and shows up at the right spots, then they can afford to rotate slightly later to these fights. Wolves will be the first one there, but look at the way this map has been warded as well. ASU Gold, they've got 4 wards over most of the choke points and most of the routes that are going to be taken in for Marshall. So there's not really a whole lot of worries. As again, going over to the solo side, we did see the Living Nightmare. I believe it's a 2-on-3 over there. Take a peek. Hydra ends up falling. Let's see what else is going on.
Yeah, it looks like Cupside and J-Rod are a little low. I don't think they're going to get aggressed on though. But in the mid lane, Nova might be in trouble. Dark Pillars are used here, but Dark Exodus shows up, turns it around. I'm just going to throw taunt into stun. Has to feel good here, but you have to pick up the Ganesha, and you do. Rex Norris takes the fall, and what looked like it was going to be a little bit more there for ASU kind of takes a little bit of a spill, more than you wanted.
Just a big commitment over on towards Hydra, who, sure, they end up falling. Yeah, they got the kill. It was worth it. But unfortunately, the counter rotation that came through just wasn't there. Also, as well, because Tiger rotates when they did, it means that Wolves gets themselves even more free farm over on this side of the lane. Now, this point Cupcake is going to chase them down, and we'll pick them off. Even so, this tier 2 tower being pressured. I mean, tier 1 under 12 minutes, as long as you farm up safe, yeah, like you said, not too much of a problem. Tier 2 going down, something's gone wrong, okay? You need to be in the lane to stop that happening.
Yeah, that's where things get a little complicated because it frees up the whole entire duo side of the map at that point. Not just to Wolves, but really to Dark Exodus. It allows this free reign, and then you have to start expelling more wards onto your side of the map where really you want them in those choke points that we saw ASU put them in.
Right.
And you don't want to start giving up gold because you did that. And now we see ASU pulling gold. This is not going to go for free. Free bowling's here. I like the play. It's aggressive. You have 4 members there. 5 on the way. And now, I mean, I think you take the fight. You look for a pick, and they're looking for free bowling right now. I'm finding it. Look at this, though. Cupside looking to try to get a pull in. Doesn't find it. Wolves dashes aggressively and doesn't get punished. Is kind of crazy. You need to do this before Hydra gets here. Hydra's on the way in, and Hydra is going to come in from the backside of this fight. This could be a problem for ASU Gold. We've hit that 12-minute mark, and now they're going for Hydra. They're looking for it, but they're paying the cost. All the ults are just getting expelled, but no. Pops the Argus, gets a double kill. The Kraken's used, but for what? Nothing is on the other side of this. Nova, a triple kill. Looking for more. Oh my God, Hydra steals away the potential Penta. If Tiger falls here, and I am Nova, I'm having some words. Nova gets a quad, and Hydra is horrible. I'm done. I'm backing. I'm not even getting the tier 2 tower. I am upset for Nova there. Potential Penta at 12 minutes, and it just goes away.
Okay, so let's start off with the good there. ASU recognized they have more people around the Gold Fury. They're like, hey guys, we have the man advantage. Let's fight. They try to do what you said. They're like, they bait members in, they go for a pick. Marshall play it so well. They just back out. Spread up, back out. Nobody's there to really stop them. and ASU then take so long and then pick a fight in the most awkward choke spot. We're seeing the same thing kind of happen here around the Gold Fury. Big Susano ult comes through. Where's the damage? There it is.
Yeah, Wolves takes a fall there. Now ASU Golder, they're playing aggressive here. They see an opportunity, and they're going to find more. Hydra's in trouble here. Hydra getting chased down, has to ult to try to get out. But meanwhile, over in the mid lane, Nova's in trouble. Free Bully somehow gets away with little to no health. J-Rod trying to finish off the kill on the Nova, but Nova turns it around on Rex Norris, picks up a double onto J-Rod, and this is insane for the Hera, living with the hair on your chin, I guess. The crazy, you have to get this. No, you can't take that spill. You can't do it. Nova is just built different. You have to let it go. Your team entered for the Hera. Just stay away from it.
Okay, so if anyone ever wants to know what the sunken cost fallacy is, I want you to replay that right there. Cupside diving onto Nova. There was no way that Cupside gets out either way. And the shutdown is like, oh my god, that's insane. No, it was not worth it. That was a 4v5 fight that ASU Gold had started to win. They'd started to climb their way back in. They could have gone back to Gold, settled for losing the tier 1 tower, and said, okay, we've evened it out to get Gold. Then we'll go to Beacon and we'll grab that. Instead, they end up doing the exact same thing they did in the fight that they lost before that, where they take so long diving through to a fight to end up causing it where the rest of Marshall are just able to sit around and they're able to just dismantle and pick apart members. Like you said, Nova is just built differently. This Hera, we have not seen Hera in almost the entirety of like this entire season. I don't even remember the last time I saw the Hera. But these polymorphs are doing absolutely, yeah, probably Dardes in all honesty, you're right.
That's it, that's it.
Like, yeah. But it's like, you look at it and what they're doing, these Royal Assaults, you saw what happened to the Poseidon, just absolutely smushed in place. And now they're setting up another fight here. Cover is back. Not for long.
The Spirit Bomb connects. I refuse to call that anything other than Spirit Bomb, by the way. It looks like Spirit Bomb.
What its actual name is. Explosion of Souls. It's a Spirit.
It's a Spirit Bomb.
Technically, an explosion of souls. Soul is the spirit. Bombs explode. It's a spirit bomb. It's just for legal reasons we can't call it. Not the spirit. We can't call it the spirit bomb for legal. That's for legal reasons, okay?
Yeah. It's like the super and that thing you eat cereal out of when football season comes around in America in February. You know, it's that.
Gotcha.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you know what's crazy about that though is that Nova didn't get the kill. The tower did.
I mean,
that's what was crazy about that situation. I thought he connected some damage, but apparently that is not the case. But really now, I mean, you're having to dig your way out here. It's an 8K gold differential in favor of Marshall at this point. You got tier 2 tower down in mid, halfway down in duo. You got some work cut out for you here at 16 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, here's the good news. Rex now has the finished Gauntlet of the Thieves and the Heart Ward Amulet, so everyone has as many magical protections as they can physically get given to the rest of the team. The bad news is they all have to be around and stood next to each other for those to be benefited, and if that happens, you're going to get 4-man taunted or 3-man taunted, because Free Bowling has just been positioning themselves so well with these, with the Sprue and now the upgraded belt. I believe that's Insatiable Hunger? I can never remember the names on the belts, but it's one of the good belts. They're already upgraded to the third one, and Fire Giant's on the table here 17 minutes in, but it's all just a fight. They found Rex. He dashes away.
Yeah, Marshall looking to bait a little bit here. Had Dark Exodus just standing at the enemy speed buff and just kind of bringing them back slowly but surely. And now Tiger ults in. They're looking for something here. Can they find it? They do find Wolves, who is already a bit down here, but Dark Exodus gets a lot of damage off, dashes in. The Ganesha Rex Norris takes a fall, and now they're just chasing down ASU. They find J-Rod, and they find Tiger as well. It is 1 for 3, make it 4 as Nova gets another double kill. It's going to be a mid-Phoenix here. And is it going to be more? They have a wave coming in too. That's a little bit scary. They back off, right? Okay, they do. They back off. Yeah. I was like, there's no shot they commit to that. That is insanity. But with the plays we've been seeing out of Nova, I mean, maybe the insanity is the play here. Is you make them really start questioning some things.
I mean, you can tell how this game is going here. 18 minutes in, Wolves hasn't even finished the Stacking the Devourer's Gauntlet, but has the upgraded Executioner. They are foregoing this concept of, all right, I'm going to farm for the late game. The late game is now. The team is there. Your damage is just as important, and getting any damage they can do right now is all that matters. You may be 0-3 and 6, but if your team needs you for objective damage or structure damage, they are there for it. And I absolutely love this kind of play from Wolves. Usually, you kind of want your ADCs to just hyper farm up, but yeah, they're level 12 right now. And admittedly, that is very low, but the lowest member on your team isn't really that much of a problem when you've got a level 19 and a level 18 just demolishing everyone else. You are there for the stuff after the fight that those two win.
I mean, sometimes an ADC player, and I say this often, you are in a way supporting your team. Like, you're there for the objective damage, and sometimes you don't get to be as relevant in team fights as you'd like to be. Yeah, you're called a carry, but so is the mid. And you're playing with these made solos as we get another fight going on. ASU goes to defend this Fire Giant. Kraken exposed here, and J-Rod takes a fall to Nova. And now, I don't think they should look for any more. I think they need to go back to Fire here, but they will. They find Cupside, who uses the Bee's Aegis. And now, does he get away? Oh my goodness, dashing away.
No,
He's not gonna get away. There's no way. Dark Pillars by onto Dark Exodus. And so Cupside is still running. Play the Benny Hill music. Cue it up. He just brought him around and ran it down and gets away, goes to another camp. And now Marshall should take this opportunity to either go to the beacon or go to Fire, but they're gonna go ahead and back instead and go ahead, get those health bars back up, maybe buy a few things and go about their day.
That was a good fight from ASU for the most part. Cupside, though, I mean, J-Rod, we've seen a lot of these Krakens come out, and they've been, I would say hit or miss, but only one of those has really happened right now. I'll let you guess which one that is. On that side of things, but Cupside sticking around for the blue buff. Sure, they get out, and yes, that is good for them, but they expelled so much to bail them out at that point that Marshall, sure, they do lose a little bit of traction on things. Tiger gets to split push up towards the tier 2 tower. Scott putting pressure out that way in. Marshall could potentially. I think Wolves is at the point where, okay, I can't just do the Fire Giant, still level 13. So maybe start trying to siege some lanes or something, but it's really awkwardly positioned because the team has run away so far that Wolves has kind of been dragged by the coattails to get here as 4 members in on 2. They're looking for Tiger.
Oh, there's the Dark Pillars to try to slow it down. It doesn't matter. Tiger has to use the beads to try to get away, but can't get away from that taunt. But there's no follow-up. Tiger's still getting to live here because everybody else is just on Cupside and not even going to finish off that kill either. A lot of ults used on the side of Marshall. Nova has Argus out running about, but that's all the ults down for Marshall to be able to pick up a Gold Fury on the backside of this. Getting that Primal Fury, give him a little bit of extra shred. But if I am ASU, I'm looking at the fact that Tiger is level 16, Wolves is level 14. You're much further in the build. And if you get crit online first, that could be a problem because you have all these mages that would be easy to shred, but you've got a ways to go to get there. I mean, we're talking probably another 5-6 minutes until that happens, and I don't know that ASU has that time currently.
Well, you say that. Look at the ones who are doing the Fire Giant right now. Tigers finding themselves a little low. ASU split away from this. Like you mentioned, dual lane for ASU are a little bit further ahead in their build. They do need to try and play around that. Wolves is not that strong. Wolves kind of just needs to find somewhere to free farm, or at least be around in these fights, grabbing some farm. They've got the Kins, they've got the Executioner online. Level 14, it just feels so difficult for them to pull this Fire Giant, to take any of these major threats off of the map, because well, who's gonna burn it down? It's not Wolves, and if Dark Exodus is doing that, they're not threatening players. So it's very awkward for Marshalls. They've still got this 8k gold lead, and that's a good look for them. But ASU are just running out that clock just a little bit longer now.
Yeah, I mean, and they really kind of held the gold at a certain point here, but now it's the Toth under attack here. Dark Exodus uses the ult and just insta-delete. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the gray screen, says Dark Exodus there. That was an unfortunate series of events, and I have been there, and it does not feel good. But now, Wolves is getting some farm finally. And hopefully that pans out, but you do have to
Hey.
worry about Cupside coming over here, and J-Rod's looking that way too, along with Tiger. They could look to go into Wolves here and commit a lot to keep this Izanami behind. Don't know if that's going to be the case here, but if I'm ASU, if you get I was gonna say, if you could commit and get that pick and force free bowling into a bad position, maybe you get something, but I don't think they were fully aware of only those two being there.
True, and with the ward positioning as it is, there's barely any wards around for ASU. They weren't 100% sure. Could there be bait potential? They knew they weren't on Fire Giant, at the very least. That did, or they knew where they were on Pyromancer, as it did go down with the ding. But unfortunately, it's just too little, too late at that point. And now with these two runic bombs in hand, now there is potential threat towards this Fire Giant. Both of those go down. That's a lot of damage onto one of these objectives. So Wolves, who's now at level 17. Like, that was like 3 waves of minions and some jungle camp, and suddenly look at that, they're like level 17. They are now a major threat, and it is genuinely just levels at this point for additional base attack speed, additional ability points going into some of these more important abilities.
Nova.
So this could be a problem as Nova
rotates over. That's going to force Tiger's ult, because they have free bowling over there as well. Tiger goes up, but where do you go? You're going to go to Dark Exodus? I mean, that's not going to be a fun time necessarily. Somehow lives through that. Kraken was used, but Hydra picks up the kill from downtown. Dark Exodus looking to turn it around, looking to survive, but still somehow alive. Finally, Cupside takes him down, and that's going to be huge to help out here as the rest of Marshall is running that way, trying to get this done, and Wolves is there, the damage is there, and now Cupside is still alive, looking for Hydra. Boom! There goes the double kill into a big shutdown here, and ASU are stepping up. They're looking for more free bowling up there with Wolves, trying to help out. Free bowling running back towards Nova, trying to see if he can bail him out. I don't know that you can, and free bowling has to leave the fight. ASU is showing up and defending this so well. They get a couple picks. It's a 2-for-1 special, but the 2 they picked up were, you know, really valuable there. I think that's a really good setup for them.
And that for them is a huge fight, just potential turnaround. Tiger gets to live long enough to rotate over. They get a few ultimates coming through the way. For the first time, I think, all game, we saw a Kraken hit, and it hit big. Dark Exodus is still a mage at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how much damage they can do, they cannot take that much damage either. So Dark Exodus eats most of their health bar to a Kraken, which deletes them. Cupside can clean that up. And then Cupside has that extra shield, has that extra movement speed coming through from the Blood Forge. It just enables them to keep gas pedaling. And then the only thing that you heard me mention is I just want to make sure that it's like, hey guys, target focus, target focus, target focus.
Yeah.
Wolves makes the rotation in, but couldn't find a home to put a lot of their damage in. Finna Throw is able to back up and is able to back away from the fight long enough to where there isn't a target option. Rex is tanky enough, even without that many physical protections to their name. They still have the Gauntlet of Thieves. They've still got this Pridwin for a little bit of extra physical protection, so they still have some ways of keeping themselves safe from that. And it's all just trying to dive in onto the back line. It's dive in on for Hydra, who has nothing left. It's dive in on towards Wolves when they realize where they are. And now, going for a bit of a base race potential here. Dark Exodus knows that the Titans the Titans are in Unleashed. Even so, Fire Giant's going from ASU, and they pick up Dark Exodus, but where's the rest of Marshall?
Marshall rotating in slow here. It's a 2v5. I don't know really why you walk into this. If they turn this around, it's going to be absolutely insane. ASU has a huge advantage here, and this can kind of flop the game back over to their favor. And there, it's, oh, the timeline resets. Doesn't get him out. No, Nova shut down. And that is absolutely huge for ASU. They lose a Phoenix, but, I mean, I almost call that even.
I don't know. I mean, the call from Marshall was original. I thought the call was going to be they give up Fire Giant, but they just burst down like the mid and left Phoenix, and they'd say that that's even because Titans are about to come up. But
yeah,
throwing over 2 members at the same time as well doesn't feel quite so good for them. I'm looking at that and wondering, like, that felt like this was a game of chicken, and they backed out first, in all honesty. So it's cost them a little bit of momentum here, a little bit of a dent towards that gold lead. Momentum lead than anything else. There's a lot of falls back in. This Athena, again, just about gets away.
Oh my goodness.
Somehow, They'll be back shortly, but no Defender of Olympus. They're going to have to walk on through. So Titans are going to get cleared out
Kraken
instead.
hits. Wolves had to use bees there. Wolves ate a lot of damage. There's Dark Pillars as well. ASU's using a lot of ult here to try to take this out. And Exodus shows up, deletes Cupside, puts down the damage on the Tiger as well. And ASU have to think about this a little bit, but instead they say, no, we're going to keep running down. J-Rod trying to get as much damage as possible. Getting a nice whirlpool out, but Wolves has to connect this damage. These autos have to land. They need to get rid of this Titan. They can turn this around, and Nova does just that. On fixing the throw, gets taken down, and it's a rundown by Marshall onto ASU Gold. They take down J-Rod. That's a double kill. Looking for more. They're gonna find Rex Norris here. There's no way out. The Titan's under attack. Tiger is walking this way. I think you just let it go, and you go back to your base and just hope for the best on the defense. Cupside up in 18 seconds. That's gonna be there. Who's gonna be there to help you? But Marshall says, forget fire. We can go get a tier 2. We could probably get a Phoenix or 2. And I think that's the move here. 3 birds down is a really, really hard thing to come back from.
Hell, given the timers on some of these members, if they feel healthy enough, they might even just go and try and tear down the Titan. Mamam's pushing up mid as well, but at worst, it's 3 Phoenixes, or at worst, Marshall come away with 2 Phoenixes. At best, they come away with the game here. What a phenomenal team fight they play, threading the needles on their health bars, and just members going back and forth and back and forth. Nova comes in at the end of that fight when all hope looks over and the fight fizzles. No, just 3-man, dropped out Argus, and boom, the fight continues on from there. Dark Exodus goes so deep to begin that fight to take down Cupside and die in the process. But it takes so long, and they group up so well, and now Cupside might be looking on the upside of the grayscale.
Oh my goodness. Hydra puts him down along with free bowling, and it's just a rundown by Marshall here. It was just a great bait. They wanted the fire, but they don't even know if they need it at this point. They take down Cupside. They're looking for more. They're gonna find Rex Norris. Rex Norris takes a fall. Dark Exodus picks up that kill, dashes in. The Tiger gets the double kill. It's now a 5v2 in the Titan. And it's going to be Marshall looking to end this here. They're going to zone them away. Right now, they're looking for kills. They're getting good damage off onto the Titan, though. Wolves is shredding that down. Wolves picks up J-Rod, and there it is. Marshall takes the game away from ASU.
Great work from them in these team fights, especially to the later stages of the game. Wolves had a little bit of an awkward start, getting kind of caught up in just the success the rest of the team had, but at the end of the day, all that Izanami is here for is damage to structures, and when the rest of the team can show up that big in a team fight, I don't think you need to worry. I mean, look at that, 12, 2, and 12 on Nova with the timeline as well, so you have to kill them twice through these fights, and the last 2 fights are just showing you how good this CC is. It's knockups into fears, into knockups, into polymorphs, into taunts. And it's just absolutely decimated the entire team. 4 members had beads, but it just felt like like every relic on the team needed to be beads to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is Marshall was playing with 6 people because of the Argus. You know, it was unfair. Argus was doing a lot of Argus was doing a lot of work in those fights. Nova dropped those at perfect time. Not to take anything away from Dark Exodus, who was just going in and executing his targets, even though it doesn't have one. Hydra, you know, getting some really good knockups, really good placement there. Overall, just a really, really good team fight there by Marshall. And that's not to take anything away from ASU. They fought back into that game very, very well. They just bit off a little bit more they could chew at a Fire Giant fight, and it just did not go their way. But you know,
yeah,
I like the wards. I like the wards.
Yeah, wards. I like the fact that I don't see a single person who hasn't bought a ward. I like that. If you really want to say that Marshall had 6 members, I'd say they had 5 members because Wolves may have had less player damage than the support. But hey, 9,000 structure damage. Like I said, sometimes you are just there for structures because your team wins the fight for you. So I'm completely okay with that. If I'm looking at a game 2 here, I think first and foremost, please, for the love of all that is good in Smite, don't let Maman whack through the game. But also, you guys have to show up. You have to find somewhere for Cupside to do something early. And solo lane didn't really feel like that was the great call. We saw Tiger go over there a couple of times. It felt like it was too much of a commitment because they lost so much pressure over in the on the left side, just map-wise, so early to do it.
Agree. Before we head into our break, this is a reminder that according to YouTube statistics, only a small percentage of you of you are actually participating in AGL tournaments, why don't you smash that button on a Saturday the 9th during your 2v2 Joust tournament if you like our content, or you could subscribe to us on Sunday the 10th during a 3v3 Joust tournament. Do it, or else a raccoon will eat your midnight Uncrustable uncured pepperoni bites. And that'd be unfortunate.
That would be pretty unfortunate. I mean, I'm on
And
the
I
third
like
floor of the
raccoons.
building, so I like raccoons as well. They're pretty great. Either way,
Yeah.
like you said, we're going to go ahead and throw it to a quick break here. So when we get back, we'll have game number 2 underway.
Yep. Welcome back, everybody. We are back for game number 2 of ASU versus Marshall. After game 1, Marshall took it away. And as we head into game number 2, what do you think we're going to see as far as picks and bans?
I mean, I can tell you one thing I don't want to see get picked up anymore, and that is most certainly this Mammon, and I don't want to see this Athena, if I'm honest. Just the amount of CC and setup that those two had, like constantly, it was 2-man taunts, 3-man knockups, 3-man taunts, showing up across the entire map. I definitely think that those two gods, if they are picked up again, I think we can clock in early at that point, or clock out early at that point, because that would just be GG on the game. But from the other side of things, let's look at what we saw from ASU. Let's look at what we saw and that was good. I think that having Tiger be able to rotate around, I think if you just hone that a little bit more, use that pressure to say they can rotate late and let them just sit in a lane and like split push out and then use that could potentially work out for them. I do think the Chernobog worked well for them. The Poseidon, when we saw the ultimates land, was one of the like fight winning moments for them. I think if J-Rod can either hold that back in or take something that has just as much impact from the solo lane, that'll work out well. They rotate out fairly fine. And Finna, I kind of want to see on something that can show up a little bit earlier. Like Nova ran away with the game just because they came online earlier, and there was nothing that we saw. Like we saw a fully channeled Final Judgment hit a 3rd health Athena, and she got to walk away from it. Like that's not something that should happen in Smite when you think of what Final Judgment does to character health bars.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, what we saw from ASU2 is, we were talking about it during the break, is, they did really well when fighting back in, and it looked like they were going to take some of those fights, but then all of a sudden they bit off more than they could chew. They just went a little too far, and in the comms it is rough. Like from playing competitive, is you start getting on a roll and you're like, oh, we got one, we can get another, oh, we can get another, and you need someone to go, hey guys, we got to fall back, and you have to listen to that call, and it's hard to do. And I think that they could have benefited from that in a few situations late into the game, but overall, they still looked, pretty good, even though they were behind 8,000 gold at that point. I'm excited to see where they go from here. I'm hoping these picks and bans work out a little bit better for them, but we'll have to see as we head into game number 2, picks and bans, how that's looking. Is if we see the Mammon ban, we see the Athena ban, right? What gods are you expecting to see in their place?
Well, let's see. We have Marshall. They're going to ban. Honestly, Marshall can afford to ban away the same gods they did. It was Thanatos, it was Arpwash, it was Horus. They can take those away. If I remember correctly, it was Ares, it was Ratatoskar, and it was Ravan that were taken off of the table. I think, honestly, you could let any of those, any 2 of those 3 back through if they just ban Athena, Mammon, and Ratatoskar so that Dark Exodus doesn't get to come back in as quickly, then I'd be fine with that. But as we can see, the Ratatoska comes away. I guess it kind of makes a little bit sense. Having seen game 1, if Dark Exodus were to take either of those 2 assassins, I could see them starting to try and run away with things again. It is going to be a change-up, though. Marshals are the ones who are actually going to ban away this Athena hit.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like it. Your first pick, you don't. There's probably something you want more than that you don't want to go to the other side. I'm curious to see, is it going to be an Ares ban again here? I don't think so. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. But I maybe we see the Mammon ban at this point for ASU. We'll have to see. But banning 3 assassins off the rip seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, it really does. Like I said, I can kind of make sense where it's like if Dark Exodus gets these kind of assassins who like to dive, then it could be a problem for them. But I think that those 2 are more susceptible in other ways. Both of them are very much online early and then have difficulty transitioning towards the later stages of the game. Mammon does not have those same issues. It is going to be the Mammon ban, take that off the table. That just means that Ares gets to go up. And the way that we saw Free Bowling play this Athena, this just feels like the more aggressive version of that, which is kind of fitting considering their sibling rivalry.
Oh no, they tricked you, and it is a Nami. Fun fact, I did forget. I did forget this because I saw it in chat, and I'm now been reminded of a game that I casted earlier this season. The rat is not a Dark Exodus problem. It's not. Really? It's not something you don't want to see in jungle. You don't want to see it in mid. for Marshall. No,
Oh!
Nova playing Rap
Oh!
mid is
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
I get you. Yeah, I've had some fun times on that where you start with like the tier 2 blink nut and then you just second you show up into lane, you blink, crit, dash someone, and you delete them immediately. That's fun. I like that. All right, Nova, you're pretty based. I appreciate that. But the Izanami first pick is very, very telling for Marshall here. And so instead, we're going to see Horus and Morgan Le Fay picked up. Horus was banned away last game. We'll see whether or not it has the potency to back that up. And Morgan Le Fay, I mean, we did see that from Hydra. It got a lot of focus, but I don't think it was necessarily something that needed to be taken away. Maybe this is more of a comfort pick for J-Rock. We'll have to see. But the Ares does still get locked in. So everything I said before still applies here. And with the Izanami to back it up as well, Marshall's dual lane looks disgusting. And now you've got Poseidon as well. I think Marshall have gotten everything they wanted from this draft.
I do find it interesting they decided to pick up this Nami first. I do think it had to do with the fact of they hover Ares, and maybe they're worried about Tiger taking it for himself. I just find Izanami such a weird first pick, but I love this comp so far. I mean, you have Ares, you're pulling everybody in, you're burning their beads. If you get the pull off, well, guess what they're going to land into? They're going to land into a Poseidon Whirlpool, possibly a Kraken if it's up. And then Izanami is like, haha, funnies. I hit you with the damage. I think it does everything you want to do as far as your carries. On the other side here, though, ASU picks up Pele, and I like that as well. You have a nice little dive with the Horus. I think it get interesting. You got good knockup with the Morgan Le Fay. Have to see how this pans out here. Is that going to be Pele jungle? Is it Morgan Le Fay jungle? Or sorry, Morgan Le Fay solo? There's some question marks here. I'm assuming it's going to be Morgan Le Fay solo. Everybody's taking mages over there, but there was a time when Pele was going over there this season, and maybe we see that come back. We'll have to see.
I mean, I want to agree with you on that one, but honestly, wherever the majors are, Pele will look to potentially roam towards. So I do think it's better off as a flex towards the jungle side of things, as we do see on the second phase of bans. Speaking of junglers, Serket and the Hunbats taken away from Marshall. They believe that they are still needing the jungler, whereas on the other side of things, Freya and the Oloran taken off the table to deal with this Izanami. So instead, we're going to see a Xbalanque. Now, I mean, Xbalanque, when I think of wave clear, I do not think of Xbalanque. Like, when I'm thinking of wave clear, I'm thinking, damn, it's really annoying to stand close to the wave. But I'd rather have seen, like, a Ram come through if you want to try and fight that. Maybe a Soul to fight into the Izanami. The Xbalanque here does bring some other sides towards it. If we're going towards that late game side of things, if we want impact without having to rotate, Darkest of Nights is incredible. And the late game aspect cannot be misunderstood, as we see Marshall's full comp round it out.
Oh,
it is a
sweet
Naja and a Kukulkan. And yeah, I'm expecting Magi's and beads from every single person on ASU. And if any of them have those down, they can expect to eat every single ult from Marshall.
Holy. I mean,
It's gross.
Look, like if Ares gets the pull off, like I don't know what are you more worried about, getting Kraken or getting the Kukul flying through and taking you out, or Neja takes somebody out, boom, Kukul, you're dead. I mean, it is through and through a very cohesive comp here from Marshall. The good thing about the X Ball is that it can turn the lights out, and turning the lights out is beneficial to the Horus ult, so that can be interesting. And I don't dislike this from ASU. I do like their comp still, but it looks like Marshall got everything they wanted and more, whereas ASU is kind of having to counterpick what they've seen and what's up that they feel comfortable on, and that can be a very rough spot to be in.
It can be. I mean, the big thing that's always important with Naja ults is when Naja's taking someone up, first of all, it becomes a 4v4. And the second thing is, what is going on the ground? Because whatever's going up, there's got to be something when it lands. So this Kukulkan, this Poseidon, both of those suddenly need to get focused to try and take it away. Usually when you think it's like a Thoth, you're like channeling the ult, just don't let them channel it. Dive onto it. That is all on Pele to try and deal with. I mean, Horus can kind of potentially follow if they go Protector Surge in or ult into the backline, but it can be very dangerous. Usually you're thinking of disarming the railgun, as I like to try and call it. It's all on Cupside. And from game one, Cupside has a tendency to play a little bit back towards the mid game. And then they show up. Like, they're early game isn't particularly noticeable. And on Pele, that really needs to not happen. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's how it ends up happening.
Yeah, I think ASU definitely has a little bit of a harder time just across the board. But I think if they make it to late game and they fight cohesively, they don't do those chase down calls, I think there's an opportunity here. But I really, really like the Marshall comp. I think just from top down,
close.
It is everything you want. Like if I'm a carry player, I'm like, yo, this comp is sick. I'm excited about it if I'm playing carry for that team, and it just has to feel good. I think, obviously Wolves has to have a better game on the Izanami this time around. That last game was a bit rough, but that's okay. Sometimes that's the way that goes. We talked about sometimes you're just more of a supporting cast ADC and you just take down objectives, and that's just the way of the road. But I'm hoping to see more out of the Izanami this time around. But I like all of the setup. There is not just too much single target or too much AoE. It is a cohesive picture on that side. But I'm a huge Horus fan. So maybe we'll see some sick Horus plays. It's been a long time since I've seen some. So I'm hoping for a lot here on the ASU side when we see that Horus, maybe get some good jump ins.
It was banned. It was banned game 1, so there's obviously some respect thrown towards it and things. And sure, we can look at the Marshall combo and be like, oh my god, they got so much beads burners. The combo, it's so good. You gotta look at it in every single character. It's like, okay, so in a perfect world, yeah, every comp is absolutely insane. Every draft does insane things. Every god is OP if they hit absolutely everything. But you got to look at it. And what I like about this is the adaptability to it. It's not just a case of Ares burns the beads and then we ult them and then they die. It's Najar can burn the beads. Ares can burn the beads. Poseidon ult can burn the beads. You've got objective pressure. Yeah, you've got objective pressure as well with this. It doesn't just have to be gods. I want to see how Marshall used this comp. Game 1 we saw. Oh, they could. I want to see we could burn people down. So a couple of times.
Y'all, I think we're having a technical difficulty here on audio. We are getting that fixed momentarily. We seem to have lost SSB's audio there and his camera. Hopefully we'll have that up for y'all back in just a moment. But while we wait, if you're interested in playing Collegiate Smite, or you're interested in helping with Collegiate Smite, AGL and NACC have brought you this season of Collegiate Smite. You can come check it out, join the Discord, find out ways that you can be a part of it, whether it's playing on a team, coaching a team, being part of production, casting, whatever it may be, running stats, whatever your thing may be, there is a place for you, and we hope you guys enjoy. As we sit here and wait for game number 2 to get on their way, we are again waiting for SSB to get back with us. He has fallen out of Discord, and we are just waiting a moment. Oh, you're back! You're not in Discord. Oh, no. There we go.
Hey.
You've done it.
I'm alive. Sort of. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I was so caught up in my wonderful analysis, and I have a feeling that you heard none of it.
No, we heard and then your camera went away, and I was like, oh no. And that's how it went down. And I'm not sure you can hear me now. welcome back, everybody. We are back with game number 2 here on Marshall versus ASU Gold. Sorry for the little bit of interruption there, had some technical difficulties. But with that being said, we were hoping to see Wolves get a little bit more damage on the Isnelli this time around, and it's another aggressive play here by Marshall, pushing up all of those lanes, except for Solo this time around. We saw this early in game number 1, and it's going to be looked that way again here in game number 2. Blur, you see anything interesting with starts that you're curious about here? Looks pretty much
so again, we're seeing a little bit of an aggressive start coming out in the duo lane. A bit more aggression, though, from Rex this time around. Item-wise, it all feels very much the same. Surprising me, though, Rex not opting for beads here. I'm genuinely surprised we do not see 5 beads across the board. Cupside hoping to try and just hyper-farm this, but Free Bowling is eating a lot of damage right now. Wolves just trying to... Honestly, like, first couple of levels and waves is kind of a tug of war. The objective is get as much farm as possible, but on the other side of it, you've also got the same thing of don't let your opponent get as much farm as possible. So you do that sort of backwards and forwards here, but Free Bowling's health looking a little worse for wear. For doing so, mid-side, cup-side falls early to Dark Exodus. That is not what you want to see.
No, Nejat getting online any earlier than normal is not a good time for you. That means ults are coming sooner, and when ults are coming, that means you're probably going to eat a dragon as well, coming down from a Cuckoo. You really have to be careful here. And the one thing I was going to say is, I don't think we're going to see a lot of Cupside and dual lane. Cupside decided to go blink over beads on the Pele, and the last thing you want to do is gank into an Ares ult. So unless that Ares ult's down, I don't expect to see Cupside over in the dual lane too often here. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to see how that ends up going. Looks like pretty standard starts across the board, though. Again, get to see some more War Flag, and this time on Ares, just feels good.
It really does, and like we saw in the first game, it's all about trying to just play around that aggression here and high wave clear that they've got, and then use that for a little bit of poke. Though, it's not quite worked out for them. Free Bowling is definitely even more damage than I think they would like to have done so. The part of that is as well, just that passive coming through from Horus, the Protector Surge healing, the extra healing protections they get. There's a lot of options to it, but Dark Exodus has swung over this way. It's over some wards, and you can see the respect that's paid. Rex and Tiger, just both of them dip immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I like the wards out of ASU here. Too often, you don't see both those pathways warded, and you only see one. It's usually the one closer to your own purple. To see that gank coming in, Dark Exodus goes, cool, you guys are going to run away? I'm going to go do your purple buff, and then you'll find out it's gone, and maybe we fight you after, maybe we don't. Doesn't really matter, because we get yours and we get ours, and that's a big dub for them.
That's a very big W, especially for Dark Exodus to be able to find that little path thing to go back towards it. And it was all because Marshall were like, hey, let's just force them to fight and clear the wave here. So nice little bit of micro play. Let's go for their buff, steal it away. Okay, how do we do that? Well, we've got to take another night micro play of fighting them in the wave. We don't want to do it too aggressively to tip our hand, so we'll just clear the wave a little bit more aggressively. So ASU find themselves down in the duo lane, and Cupside as well falling back a little bit as well. This buff is secured by ASU over this side, as right now Cupside is just trying to farm up. They really need to get back from this deficit, especially when it was Dark Exodus who got it. You mentioned game like 1, like supports getting further ahead means they get their items online, they get stacking more, and it helps the team. Yeah, Dark Exodus gets online, they get their ult online. Suddenly beads being burnt becomes so much more dangerous, and they can start going over to solo lane and taking down J-Roll.
Yeah, and this is going to be another rotation back over to mid. They're looking for more here. They're also looking to steal away farm, but they are looking to see, can they get a gank onto this Pele and Raijin in mid, and that might be the case. You're looking at Cupside. Cupside thought about back and decides to run away. Instead, back and get the mid camp. Said, hey, we can get some farm over here. Let's run that way. Not playing overly aggressive in the mid lane is probably going to be the key here. But it looks like you're going to get a bit of back from Rex Norris, looking to get items online early. And then on the other side of this, I expect Free Bowling probably will back again soon, wants to go ahead and get a full Gauntlet of Thebes online. But right now, just hitting some chains and running at people.
And that's what you do as Ares, isn't it? You just go for the chains, and then that's the end of that one. But Dark Exodus has got back now with the stacking items online. It's Devos most likely for worse than but they don't. That will be where they're heading towards. A Gauntlet of Thieves Still not quite done either. 4 items being stacked up on the team means Marshall. I mean, I said it last game. I don't think Marshall will want to fight early, and then look what happened last game as Hello again over the solo side. She falls onto Hydra. Blink comes through. ASU go to at least punching back, and Cupside is trying to instigate. I like this.
This is honestly really, really nice by Hydra. That pre-bees, I think, was absolutely worth it there. You don't want to get knocked up and just kill it at your tower line. He's able to go secure the blue. Just a nice play there by Hydra overall. And I like it. I mean, Cupside been a little bit more active on this right side this time, along with mid. And I think that's the play. We talked about kind of avoiding that Ares. And it looks like it's paying off at least decently right now. Yeah, you used a Blink, but you're at least showing that you want the pressure over there. And I think that's big.
It should be pretty big for them at this point, and we've talked a lot about what the potential for Poseidon is. We've seen that Morgan Le Fay can do very well, but both of these two, in a mage lane like this, where both of them are building very similar items, having an item or an item and a half over the other person makes for a very big imbalance between the two of them. Hell, even which one of these two gets bountiful bow finish first could potentially cause some trouble for them. So having both of them try and play a little bit more evenly, having J-Rod get some support from Cupside here. It's about half a level down, maybe like half an item, gold as well, but just look at that damage. It's good, it's not enough.
Yeah, Kraken, Tidal Wave, Whirlpool, throwing it all out there and escaping just by a smidge. Is J-Rod there, able to get away, and that's pretty nice if you eat all that damage. And, you know, that's not going to be the case here in a little bit. In a little bit, that's going to go ahead and kill everybody. But for now, you get to live, and that's okay. Looks like Wolves and Free Bowling are getting pressured a little bit here by the Jablonke, and that's, you know, the Horus. It has to feel pretty good here. I like what Rex Norris is doing, wanting to step up, forcing them to come out of that tower and say, hey, guess what's going to happen? You step out, I'm going to dash you. You're going to have to connect those chains. I like what we're seeing here. You do have to be a little bit careful, though. They don't have the beads, as we've already mentioned. Obviously, Jablonke has beads, has a way to get a little bit of CC immunity going as well, but is what it is here as the farming to stay under the tower, stay safe, and that's going to be the move here. As Marshall is up about 1,700 gold.
Which is not too bad for them, considering, what, 500 of that is First Blood. We'll say another 150, 200 gold of that comes through from any farm that was lost on that First Blood. So, yeah, it's like 1,000 gold that they've been able to farm up extra, which is pretty good for them right now. You see, though, that J-Rod are going to just clear out some wards. I'm going to try and fight out a little bit as well. So they got some ward coverage, but unfortunately, Hydra watched it go down, so they're like, hey guys, there's a ward here. Whether or not Cupside will be back over this way, we'll have to pay close attention to. It is all on Dark Exodus right now, who did get those first 2 kills. It's still stacking up the Transcendence, but a little bit of protections going their way with the Breastplate of Valor leads me to believe that this is not going to be a full damage build, but rather the entry frag, as Kaizo would normally call this. It's the, I go in first, I potentially die for the team, but I set up 2 or 3 other kills in the process.
And I'm about it. Honestly, I like seeing that out of junglers where you go this like bruiser-ish build. You're a little bit tanky. Just get that little bit of tankiness online. Allow you to dive enough to set up the rest of your team and get that utility going. I think it goes a long way. A lot of junglers don't like to play that way. They're like, I want the kills. I want to, you know, I want to frag out. I get it. But sometimes just set up your team is enough. And I think that's something we might see here out of this Mage. Obviously, taking a single person up into the sky and bringing them down into an ultimate from anyone on the team could be devastating. So we'll have to see how that pans out. So far, Dark Exodus is the only one on the board. And we're heading into Stygian Beacon here in about 2.5 minutes. And I imagine we're going to see more once that comes up as another team fight should break out. But for now, it's just going to be simple farming by both Marshall and ASU. And this is very different from what we saw last game.
It is. Could we actually production hover over Nova? I just want to check what their leveling order is looking like. So I think you can do with the Kukulkan, which I want to know whether or not they're doing. And that's usually, you can leave Whirlwind at 3 or 4 points and then start leveling your other abilities, because Whirlwind will full clear the wave at that point. I want to see whether or not they're doing that. If they're not doing that, that means they are going for hyper farming. They want that to just clear out camps quicker. They want that to clear out the wave slightly quicker so they can rotate sooner from some of these things. But that rotation. Exodus going in. Doesn't get any beads. Does push back Finna Throw, who's at half health.
Yeah, and this is a nice setup here by Marshall. They're looking to gain control over this area by the beacon. That way they can go ahead and set up everything. It looks like they're... Okay, I thought for a second they were going to go pull gold, and I was like, wow, that's a really nice play and a really aggressive compared to what we saw last game. And the Ares is chilled over here. Free bowling is just free farming, I guess. Free waiting for someone to step up or anything. And they're going to get just that. Free bowling makes the rotation over. And now Rex Norris has stepped out of line for the time being. There's the ult in. Can they burn? And they do. Dark Exodus walks away with the kill. Gets an assist for those that are around, but this opens up a early Gold Fury for Marshall, and this is going to lead right into a Stygian Beacon as well if they can secure it, and that's going to be huge. But on the way is Unfit to Throw. They're throwing the drums over the wall. They're going to unleash it. They're going to let it go. There, turn the lights out. Dark Exodus is going to be the one that falls. Can they take away the Gold Fury? Who gets to secure it? ASU Gold gets the Gold Fury. Can they get more for it is the question. Hydra's made the rotation, but there's nothing more there.
Find it out.
There's the chains. They're pulling them back in. Getting beads, pulling some. Unfit the Throw takes one down. They're looking for more. Marshall takes another spill with free bowling. Wolves trying to do something here. Can J-Rod pick it up is the question. ASU Gold walks away with it all. They lose one. They get the Gold Fury, and that is huge.
What an absolutely insane turnaround potential from ASU. Gold Fury acting as just a deterrent for Marshall being able to continue going. They stick around. They get the fight. They work so well for them. Unfortunately, ASU knew enough that, hey, Gold Fury is going to go down. And there wasn't a quick enough response from Marshall to when they showed up. As soon as the taiko drums come out from Finna Throw, where was he? He was over the other side of a wall. No one can get to him easily to deter him on from the Gold Fury. So they scatter. But Dark Exodus is left up in the front being like, guys, are we not going to fight them? He's also being slowed and debuffed by the Gold Fury as well, meaning he cannot get away. And then it just felt like a one by one from Marshall. We're in a bad situation. There's no way out. We just have to go down or die, you know, like go down swinging, as it were. And that's exactly what ended up happening. ASU Gold as well got a beautiful grouping. The fact that they still Gold Fury as well, even through all of that, absolutely huge. And J-Rod, what a change for them, as we do see a little bit of a fight against Cupside here, and there's follow-up from both mages. I didn't think they were both around, so I thought Cupside was going to get the 1v1. That's not the case.
Rex Norris gets out just in time. Was getting shredded down there by Nova. Nice, pick there by Dark Exodus. Hits the sash, takes him up with the Windfire Wheels, and, boom goes the Dynamite with that combo. Bring him down, and they take a spill. That's what we're talking about before the game started, and it seems that's going to still be the case here. But now, Marshall are the ones that are slightly behind. Not something we saw game number one. Really not something we've seen this game until this point. And now we wait to see, what's going to be their answer to being a little bit behind. J-Rod now under pressure over on the solo side there. You have Hydra and Free Bowling chasing him down. You have Tiger turning off the lights and chasing down Wolves, which is going to be huge. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Nova looking to fight Unfit to Throw. Who's going to get the better of the exchange? And the answer is no one. The minions got the better of it by falling down. And then that
is that really better?
I don't know.
Really
I don't know. They hit attacks, so yes. Cupside picks up Wolves over on the duo side, but Dark Exodus turns around, takes out Tiger. Can he get more? Which will live is the question. And right now they're still fighting it out. Looks like Cupside is not on the favorable side of that battle with a wave there, and Dark Exodus doing a lot of damage. Dark Exodus comes away with a double kill in the duo lane. Again, 5-1-1 on this Neja is going to be huge here now. Meanwhile, Free Bowling gets the chains, slows down the Horus, which is going to be absolutely huge. Rex was looking for more, isn't able to find it, unfortunately, with not being able to dash. And a nice stall there by Marshall in the mid lane, meanwhile getting a lot over on the duo side.
A fair bit for them at this point in time, and it's very bloody from both of these two teams. They are not willing to give an inch at all for it. If one team is fighting, they're either going to fight over the other side of the map or they're going to rotate members through. And time to kill is for me what seems to be the most important factor here. So for Marshall, as I mentioned on the desk before we had technical difficulties, which means nobody heard it, Kraken used to secure a buff. Marshall's comp it seems on paper as the combo, it's, oh my god, we've got such great player pressure. We burn the beads, we burn the player, it destroys them. But they also have fantastic objective control. 2 mage ultimates is absolutely ridiculous for securing these objectives. So they could very easily turn this to, hey, we burn their beads, we set up an advantageous fight around an objective. If they wanted to look for that instead, they can somewhat slow play these fights and kind of asphyxiate the rest of ASU with their objectives. Unfortunately, it seems that ASU just are trying to call these shots a bit faster. Look at the grouping over here around this Fury. They know that it's up, and that's exactly where they want to be.
And I like this grouping at ASU Gold. I mean, you have all 5 members on the left-hand side. They're positioning for another Gold Fury. They stole one away earlier. I think this is going to be huge for them. But we have to see, is there going to be a response from Marshall? Obviously, Hydra knows, hey, no one's over here in solo. Like, there's no one to be seen. What are they doing? And they're playing. Look at this. They're hiding around the corner. They're waiting. Dark Exodus is there. They look to catch him out. Good beads. The sash even better. Nice. There goes the beads, but it connects onto somebody else. The Whipfire wheels connect on a Tiger of all people. Tiger gets taken out by Nova. And this is huge for Marshall. They are the ones that found out as Free Bowling picks up the double kill on the Ares, and now it's a chase down onto ASU, and really, they can just turn around and get a free Oni Fury if they want. The Beacon's coming up as well, but they are looking for this mid lane tier 1 tower from the looks of it. Dark Exodus making sure Cupside cannot make a way back in, trying to see, can you get a flake on an unbid throw?
Okay.
Dash in, smash is better. Can they take him down? They do. The Whirlpool takes the cripple. Absolutely fantastic play there by Hydra. And ASU, who had taken the lead, gotten the goal, and played it so well, we asked what was Marshall's response going to be, and it looks like they said, hey, you're going to hide around a corner? Well, you're going to find out, and they get the team wipe, or most of a team wipe, and Oni.
So remember when I said the Dark Exodus is here for an entry frag? Like, they go in, they set up for the ults, and then that's it? That's pretty much what just happened. Admittedly, it wasn't Dark Exodus starting the fight. It was getting a fight started on them. But even so, they did exactly what they needed to do. That's just sash. Takes longer to kill because you can't hit someone. Take someone up into the air. I believe Nova's ult clipped Tiger before they went up, and then they landed into the whirlwind afterwards, which is what ends up picking up the kill. But just such great work from Marshall. They admittedly knew that that was happening around the Fury. They didn't have the ward vision up for it, but as soon as they start grouping up, they recognize, hey, the last time we lost a big fight, we kind of got a little bit split, a little bit discombobulated. We need to focus quickly and concisely. Who is the target? It's whoever Dark Exodus takes up. And then after that, it's burn the squishies, burn Cupside. If Rex tries to ult away, we turn and burn on the target who's literally stood still and cannot get away any other way. So beautiful work from them. I thought they were going to get a bit too aggressive. They went under the tier 2 tower. I thought they were going to ignore the Fury. But instead, they loop it back around. They grab another kill for it and then go, hey, Fury's up. Let's just get what's free and extend this lead up to 5,000 gold now.
Yeah, I mean, I got worried. As soon as we got the picks and you're like, okay, we got him. Do we go to the tier 1 tower? And I'm like, well, the tier 1 tower has like no health. They could get that. And then you see the blink to tier 2 and it's like, oh, sweet God. Did they overcommit? And no, Marshall, you know, that's who they are. They just go in, they get it, they clean it up, they get an Oni Fury, they get a Beacon as well. And I really liked what ASU was doing there. Like, ASU had, not only did they have more members there, they were playing hide and go seek around the corner. I mean, I was waiting for something to pop off, and it just didn't go their way. I mean, great use of relics. It was just really unfortunate. The Dark Exodus hits Tiger and just takes him out of the fight. And then he lands into the wind and just ticks away the damage as he dashes away. It was just unfortunate. But now Marshall walks away with that with almost a 5,000 gold lead at this point. And Kraken comes through by Hydra on the J-Rod. He gets the buff. He Kraken for the buff and nothing else. I will not be convinced otherwise. And I like it. That's good cooldown.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 40% cooldown already. He doesn't need it.
Oh, no.
Wow, that is a lot of members around. It's supposed to be the solo lane. What are 4 people doing it?
J-Rod got the me treatment. 4 people showed up to your lane and just running it down at you. Holy smokes. It usually happens to me at like 8 minutes into the game, though, and I'm really concerned. But ASU gets a Pyromancer here, and now Dark X is looking for a way in. Cannot finish off on Fin to throw.
Oh, this is huge!
Roaring in, gets a lot of damage off, and now ASU Gold are the ones that have to retreat after such a good setup. And look who it is, it's Wolves coming in. He just has to land the autos onto Cupside, gets a few. Dark Exodus picks up a double kill in the mid lane, and now you need to call it off, run to fire, and that's exactly what Marshall is gonna do.
Marshall have just said, I don't care where we fight you, when we fight you, what we fight you over, we are just going to beat you. Every team fight we have seen from them, be it them starting it or them finishing it, has been them winning it. Now they get themselves a Fire Giant here, just shy of 21 minutes in. This gold lead rockets up to almost 9,000 gold. And at this point in time, with the Fire Giant in tow, they're on tier 2 towers. It's not like oh, we can clear up some tier 1s and maybe push for Phoenix. They could legitimately just say, right, bish, bash, bosh, all 3 of those towers go down. That's 1,400 gold to extend their, or 4,500 gold to extend their gold lead, and then go for another Fury. And hell, if they take another one of those great team fights like that, that's just going to be game ending. The fact that Nova gets to blindside 3 people with the ultimate from setup is insane. And Dark Exodus, I thought they were going to go more tanky than they have done. It's just a shield of regrowth. Everything else is full damage and sustain. They're just demolishing members, and the amount of respect that ASU are showing to them is not unwarranted. They're 8-1-5, but they are blindsided by Dark Exodus diving into 3 members, and it's throwing them so quickly. And Naja should not be able to dive into 3 people and get away with it, but they are.
Yeah, I mean, 8-1-5 on the Naja, and we talked about this could be problematic, and we thought, honestly, and me and you both, I think, thought it was going to be a little more tanky than what it ended up being.
Yeah.
It's just the breastplate, and it's proving to be so useful here. Get that little bit of healing, a little bit of cooldown going. It's another Gold Fury. This one's going to fall in the way of Marshall this time. That Primal Fury, just again, giving a little bit more shred. Now you have the beacons coming up, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I take this if I'm Marshall. I think I leave the beacon there as bait, and I do not take it. I do not want the Titans marching down as Dark Exodus connects a Sash, looking for more. Gets a nice little bait of abilities out, but I think you let it go. I think you push these towers down. I don't think you grab this beacon. They're going to grab it. I don't think you do. I think you take down the Titan, or you take down the towers, the Phoenixes, and go for it, because you have to force them to step up to that at that point. Like, it is, and obviously, you get the Titan to push with you, yeah, but let's be honest, like, how often do you actually get to see the Titan make it into the opposing Titan? Not very.
Not always, no, but it does offer free pressure down into the right-hand side of the map, so Marshall are now sieging 2 lanes at once, if they so choose. I mean, look how quickly they're tearing down this left side tower. There's not even got minions in yet. They're saving those for afterwards if they actually want to go for a Phoenix. Instead, they might just drop back around. Look at Nova's pathing. There is no fear there. They're the furthest one up, and they loop up and over to get into this mid now. Beautiful work there. They're just going to tear these down before the Titans show up so that they can push with their Titan. I love that. That's just a macro play. That's not like micro where it's like we've got these little things that we can do to get a fight. This is just brute force, bang, bang, Titans down that lane. That's where we want to be. No, there's no overcomplicating this. It's just, we will play better than you. And they are.
Yeah, I mean, they're further along in the builds besides, Wolves is a little bit behind, but not enough. Not as much as it was last game. So there's that, but I mean, you still have the objective shred. This comp does so good at shredding things down. This Titan's gonna go down immediately. You're gonna have it there with the push. Again, I think they could have done this without the Titans, but I respect the fact that they're like, hey, we want to unleash the Titans. We're gonna fight with it and see how it goes. But Fire Giant probably up on them for another minute and a half, so we'll have to see how this pans out for them. Again, Hydra stepping up all the way to 5 members of ASU, and now Free Bowling goes for the pool and forces out some ultimates. They don't beads, they use ults in response, and that is huge. J-Rod goes in, trying to delete somebody, but it's not there. The Kraken crashes down along with the Dragon from Cuckoo. Dark Exodus takes one up into the air. Cupside's in trouble. Rex Norris in trouble. All of ASU had bit off more than they could chew, trying to find initiation in to take someone down, and the only one left is Tiger running away from the Titan as Dark Exodus blinks in, looking for the stash. It's not there, but can you catch it? No, dashes away for the time being, but that's going to be a right side Phoenix going down next. It's going to go quick, and this is Marshall looking to end the game against ASU as they have minions, they have the Titan, they have the damage. And I am pretty sure it doesn't matter that Free Bowling doesn't have any help. There's the Frenzy. Tiger gets forced to dash away. GG's Marshall on to the finals.
Hey, Titan made it into the other throne room. It literally walked the entire way there to watch the last one get taken down. But what a phenomenal final fight. Like I said, I say it time and time again. Marshall do not care what the fight is about. When the fight is, they will take it and they will win it. That was literally them just starting to push up and around. And like you said, it was a blink into the air result. What gets forced? A couple ultimates. Great. Let's take that fight. And ASU try and answer it back, but without the ultimates from through the skies, without having the taiko drums come through. They didn't have any follow-up. Cupside dives in. So does Morgan Le Fay. J-Rod went in. And what happened? Cuckoo just said, sweet. I'm just gonna shove my entire ultimate down your throat, Morgan Le Fay. And she lost 3/4 of her health bar and immediately died on turnaround there. So it just ended up happening where every single member from Marshall played this comp beautifully well. It wasn't always we burn the beads, we double ult you, everyone wins. It was just we use everything in our kits as good as we can, as often as we can.
Okay. I have to say, Dark Exodus placed 3 wards last game, 3 wards this game. This game was shorter. I don't like it. Place more wards. That's my TED Talk. Yeah. But, I mean, all players in ASU under 10k damage. It feels bad. Unfortunate, honestly. Wolves did about the same amount of damage in less time, so that's pretty sick. But really just a dominant performance here by Marshall, showing from top to bottom. That draft was really, really good. They were playing 4D chest. I mean, that's what it came down to, and it looked really, really good. Honestly, I don't know who they're going to be playing against in the finals currently, but Marshall, defending champs, looking to take another one back-to-back, and that's really impressive here.
I got to agree. I mean, whoever Marshall are facing, if you're looking back at this, then you've got to be thinking, okay, how do we deal with team fights? Do we just go hyper-passive the whole time? Do we just try and outward them? Do we try and play early game? I don't know what they're going to do, but finals are going to be a slobber knocker against Marshall here.
Yeah, I think if you're playing against Marshall, you might not need to take some notes, look at these picks and bans, and then think of like, hey, there's some things I don't want to see. Can we play it, or do we need to ban it? Like one of the two. But that was our set for this evening. It's been me, Blaze McBain. It's been Supersonic Blur. It's been Maniac and Jeepney helping us out on the production and spectator. We appreciate y'all coming out. We hope you have a good night, and take it easy.